Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Monday Weekend Wrap-Up, episode 64. We've got a lot to talk to. We've got great guests on the program tonight. But to start off, as a token of my appreciation for Manchester United, I have just received a free sample of some GG energy drink, and I will eat it raw. I think it's blue. Well, I should probably show that it's blue, because today is all about blue and... Oh, it's green. Kind of green. I will eat it now before the show begins out of solidarity for Manchester City and the triumph that it has achieved by winning the Premier League. That's supposed to be 16 ounces of water. That's gross. Do not buy this. First guest of the evening is coming in all the way from Columbus, Ohio. Standing at 6'4", 264 pounds. Hofsper. Hoff, hey. Welcome in, Hoff. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty good, Yes, guys, I am cosplaying as Freddie Mercury today. I will be... Okay, we won't talk about what I'll be doing later. Also joining us today is a new guest, not a new guest, but someone who doesn't frequent the show. But we have someone who we're always happy to see. We have Michael. Michael 87. How you doing, man?
Living the dream, boys. How you guys doing?
Good. Nice to have you on. Thank
you. It's good to be back.
And last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend, coming in from Vancouver, Mr. Milo the First. Milo, how you doing?
Uh-oh,
audio's out a little bit.
Hello. There we go. Good evening. How are we doing, everyone?
I'm doing okay.
I hit the mute button to take care of something and then didn't unmute it, so that's on me.
Oh my god, that energy powder's nasty.
So, can I clarify? Did you literally just down the powder?
Oh yeah, well I put a little bit of water in it.
Okay.
GG Energy Keto Friendly Energy Formula.
Good to know it's keto friendly.
Yeah, I got it in the mail. Sugar free, no nootropics, antioxidants, and that flavor was melon something. Kind of gross.
Melancholy.
Yeah, melancholy. Speaking of, it's Misfits Melon. Misfits Melon. Maybe it's like a gamer. Isn't Misfits a gamer team or something?
Yeah, Misfits Gaming. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, welcome in chat. Tin, Benapitin, Quitico, Maroon, Adola, Greg as always. Greg, did you like the Manchester City graphics in the intro? That was all for you, my dude. Because it is official. Manchester City are the Premier League champions of 2022-2023. How are we all feeling about that? Milo, we'll get to you last, okay? But Michael, I forget. Who do you support? You're a Liverpool fan?
No.
Or United fan?
No.
He's a Bayern Munich fan.
Yeah, Bayern Munich, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but Premier League.
Premier League I just enjoy, honestly.
That's right.
I kind of lean towards the Spurs because I like the underdog story all the time, but I just enjoy the football.
I think that's why I couldn't remember that, because you were neutral.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
I just try to soak it in as much as possible. There's a lot to it.
Here, let me get... Is your audio on auto adjust, Michael? In the StreamYard settings?
Yeah.
Just gonna turn the volume. Okay, cool. I'm gonna turn the music down then. All right, guys. Let's talk Manchester City title. They have clinched the title after beating Chelsea 1-0 at home. Mm-hmm. They rested pretty much everybody. Deserved title winners.
Yep.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, they haven't lost since Spurs beat them like in March, February. I don't even remember when it was. I mean, there's just and over the course of the season, I mean, the beginning of the season was probably the worst I've seen them play under Pep in a while. Just like despite the fact that Haaland's just scoring goals for fun, it didn't seem at the beginning of the season like they would be playing like this now. So that's a credit to Pep, I guess.
And they shipped off Cancelo mid-season, which I'm happy about. But
yeah.
I thought that was them calling it quits, honestly. I thought when Cancelo was leaving and they were like, struggling to maintain a Champions League spot, I was like, oh, maybe they're focusing on Champions League and they're calling it quits in the Premier League, and here they come storming, going for the treble all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Best team in the world this season, and by far best in England. By Stefan. Milo, your thoughts on the Man City title?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I do think they deserve it. I think when you look at the form table, I've looked at it many times in the last couple of weeks or months, probably. But, it's nothing but green tick after green tick after green tick. They've lost 4 games, which by their own standards is a disaster. Like, it's ridiculous. We talked about it last week. The bar is so high, that's fine. Having the Premier League be the absolute best and having the bar so high, we talked about that last week. That's fine. But man, does it make it difficult to beat them. I was talking to a Liverpool fan yesterday, Mr. Blackout, Mr. Blackout. Him and I were doing some driving practice in the morning, and we were talking about it, and he said, you're preaching to the choir. Socrates mentioned it before as well. Liverpool obviously went toe-to-toe with them for 3 seasons and managed to squeak one out. But I mean, they utterly do deserve it. Their form is just irresistible, especially in the second half of the season. I think Arsenal's obviously we're talking about Arsenal a little bit here because we were the only ones really challenging them for the title for the majority of the season. Given injuries, given the run-in, all the rest of it, I think we've dropped slightly a few more points than I would have wanted, but not that many. And when I go back and look, if City just win out to the end, it would have taken something pretty amazing to beat them. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. So they also have a player that scored 60-odd goals. I mean, you got to be realistic. Like my hat, I'm not wearing one because it's off to them. Like it is. They of course they deserve it. They've been outstanding, and am I disappointed? Of course, but I think I said to you guys before, like I'm very, very enthused about what I saw this season. The progression that my team made. I just hope that we can give them a fight next year, and whether that's with 3-4 teams, it'd be great if there were 6 teams that were all capable of beating each other on any day at the top of that table. That would really make it exciting. But as it stands, I mean, the end has just turned out a little bit damper than we would have hoped.
Yeah, I want to talk. When I was getting ready for the show, I was thinking about the defense of Arsenal. Right, everyone's saying Arsenal bottled by this that.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but I get why rival fans want to throw that shade.
What are they supposed to do? They just went on a crazy winning streak in the beginning of the season. Did really, really well. No one was expecting them to do that well, right? It's like, what do you want them to do? Just like overexert themselves.
Well, not the expectation, which I'd like to remind everyone once again. I've done this every week for the last 6 weeks, so let's talk about it again. But the expectation at the start of the year was ranging from 10th to 6th, and with the odd person saying, yeah, they could scrape top 4. They could scrape top 4 this year. Scrape top 4. That was the expectation at the very high end of predictions. Therefore, everything they've done is wildly above that expectation. That's why I'm not distraught. I'm not worried. I mean, look, rival fans are always they're going to enjoy it when a team they don't want to win fails to win something from a advantageous position. But again, it's not a regular team. That City team, manager, club has been in a unique position for 10, 15 years, and and there's a lot of factors to that whether or not we'll get into those tonight.
Oh, we must. I mean, it would be wrong not to. It would be wrong
for
not
sure.
to get.
But I mean, going back to your original question, no, I mean, for me, that's why I don't think we bottled it. I think if anything, we I would love for us to have taken it down to the last day. But do I think had it gone down to the last day and we still lost? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that the narrative from those rival fans would still be the same, and I couldn't give two shits about what they think, because I mean, in fairness to Pep, he did say, we've been out the Champions League for 7 years. The result of getting back into that is massive for recruitment as well as financial reasons. If we want to stay in the title fight, we're going to need that money, we're going to need that recruiting power, and we're going to need to be playing in the Champions League. There's just no other way around it.
Absolutely. Just want to clear something up, guys. We will talk about all other stuff. Okay. There's a system in our chat that we can star comments. So we have 3 comments starred so far. Is yours selected? Find out later in the show. But it is. We are going to try to talk about things. We can't just kind of go all over the place. If we're talking about City, a lot of us are EPL fans. We watch EPL. We're going to start with that. We will definitely get to Juventus. We will definitely get to Spain. We will definitely get to Vinicius. We'll definitely get to Bayern, 100%. Those are all things we're going to talk about. We're going to start with Premier League, though, and just talk about Premier League going into the final week as well. We'll talk about it all. So, yeah.
I mean, the far, as soon as we've talked about them, let's just get Arsenal out of the way, because I don't think they're a massive talking point this week. I think last week was the end of the title hopes, personally. So I think that, like, the Forest game showed you, they knew, although they played okay for spells of the game, I thought just no cutting edge. And then, Forest, a team that with 3 points knew they would stay up, which I'm really happy, because my granddad supported Man United, but also
Freudian slip.
Yeah. He supported Man United, but he also used to go to a lot of Forest games when he was a kid. So he had like an affinity for Nottingham Forest, and I know he always liked to see them do well. So the fact they're staying up is fine with me. It has no bearing on our result. We're second either way.
Yeah, Forest is great, man. The energy in the stadium is crazy. I don't think since I've been following the Prem, I don't think they've been in the Prem. I don't know when the last time they were in the Prem was, but maybe they came in for a short time. But
they were
definitely
in the Stan Collymore era, which may have just been before you.
2000,
kind of the last time.
Yeah, 2006. I started following Prem. So
yeah.
The City Ground, right? That's what it's called, City Ground.
Yeah.
It gets rocking. It's really good. On the topic of Arsenal, we did talk a lot about it last week. So if you want to hear more about Arsenal, you can go to last week's episode. We'll probably talk about it in the summer as well. But it's into the defense of Arsenal is just like they went on they overachieved early in the season. I think it's fair to say, and that will obviously, with such a passionate fan base, it's going to raise expectations and raise belief. And even I got swept away with it as well. But hopefully, this is like a big learning lesson for all of us. To really, this is a time for all of us to gain some experience in title races and understand.
I think if you guys go back, and by you guys I mean the chat and the millions watching this on YouTube later, if you go back through the VODs, you will see consistently through the season I tempered expectations for this very reason. I did not get swept away.
I think there's another interesting stat, though. It's a ballpark stat, a rounded stat. When Arsenal was in the lead and when they started dropping points, all the league leaders on the other 5 leagues also dropped a lot of points, which just shows how good City are. It's almost like they were taking steroids or financial steroids, which is something we do have to talk about. I mean, we have to talk about it,
It's a very obvious elephant in the room.
It's exactly. And I apologize to any City fans that are watching, I really do. Because I know it sounds like we're just haters and we're just trying to devalue your accomplishments, but it must be spoken about for the sake of fair competition in my mind. And the fact that it's not is alarming. And it's almost like, okay, I don't want to make this political, but the most relevant idea I can think of is, okay, this is going to be a bad idea. This is a bad idea, but I'm going to say it.
Anyway.
Donald Trump, right? Normalizing the actions of Donald Trump, right? Okay, look. Oh, this is a bad idea. I don't know what I'm talking about. Look, what I'm saying is the way people quickly, looked over a lot of his controversial things and fraud, tax fraud, whatever. Like the way as a media we just kind of look over it when we see a nice TikTok highlight of him dissing Rosie O'Donnell, right? Like that's the danger. That's the dangerous society we live in. And if we don't give attention to it, Man City, with their marketing power and their social media presence, will absolutely just brainwash a whole entire generation of football fans into believing that this is all legit. Everything is fine. And look, it could be legit. That it's just charges. They haven't been, sentenced or whatever. I don't even know the legal terms, but it's pretty serious, right? 115 breaches over 10 seasons. I did look up a little thing about financial fair play. We talked a lot about it last week, and I just wasn't clear on a lot of the talk about it. But I went to UFA's site, and they wrote an article in 2015. So this is a couple years after financial fair play was introduced. The aim of financial fair play is not to make all clubs equal in size and wealth, right? That is not the aim of it, but to encourage clubs to build for success rather than continually seeking a quick fix, right? They don't want clubs to just boom, skyrocket up a bunch of money and then fall hard. Football clubs need
Chelsea.
Exactly. Chelsea, and you could argue
Newcastle.
I mean, that's the thing, though. I feel like Newcastle is doing things by the book right now so far.
They haven't seen that splurge.
I think
exactly.
this summer's when it's going to go ape shit.
I think
especially now that they're in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that at the start of the season, that in order for them to be able to have that power to go with the money, they have to be in the Champions League. Or, Europa League would have been one step and they probably could have bought in some people. The Champions League will change that completely, and they will have big buying power this summer.
If they can stay in third, if they can win this weekend and stay in third, that's huge draw potential for a lot of big names that are going to be moving.
Yeah, and it's a good club, an amazing fan base.
Yep,
an amazing stadium.
It's a loud stadium, very loud.
And those fans deserve some success. To be honest, they've been through some tough times. So,
yep. Just continuing on here, they said football clubs need an improved environment where investing in the future is better rewarded so that more clubs can become credible long-term investment projects, which is what I think Arsenal is doing. I feel like, they have a very young squad. They've invested a lot in their youth, and they should, and it's been a long-term 3-year process, and I feel like they should be allowed under FFP or whatever the rules are to spend big now. That's what last week I was talking about. This summer they should be aiming to spend big, really strengthen to make them a top contender. And that's why I was saying, like, I don't think FFP isn't like FFP's making the bigger clubs slightly weaker, but it's making, any up and coming club much stronger with the right backing. By favoring investment in youth and stadium infrastructure, and by setting acceptable deficits in absolute million-dollar terms and not relative percentage, right? So every team across the board has a cap, a hard cap, like a million, like a dollar amount cap, not a percentage of the club, right? So the amount to spend is equal. I mean, not equal, but the amount you're allowed to overspend is equal. But it's not a function of the percentage of the club or the size of the club. The break-even assessment has been structured to be less restrictive to smaller and medium-sized clubs. In time, more smaller and medium-sized clubs will have potential to grow. That is the thesis of financial fair play. Obviously, everyone's saying it doesn't exist, blah blah blah, because the rules are being broken or whatnot, which is why I am so, that's why I'm so kind of this is important, right? These breaches are important because this is where you have to draw the line. City are gonna could be like the final club to get away with it technically. This could be the final club to get away with breaking the rules, etc. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that it's important to understand that if we don't have rules, everything's gonna just be craziness, right? Overinflated sponsorship deals, falsifying revenue, allowing you to spend big quickly.
It's interesting though that it takes 10 years for this stuff to come out. They're talking about how long this has been going on, but it's like why is this not being handled in year kind of thing? Like you look at a lot of the Americanized sports, and yes, we hate salary cap, but I think it's a good metaphor because when the salary cap's being broken in the same year. Why is it taking 10 years for financial fair play to come in now that they've won all these titles and everything, and now we have to go back, and it's like if all these are proven true, do they just sweep all those titles away from them and hand them back to secondary places, or
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the punishment and whatnot is going to be, but it's I don't know. It is an issue. It is an issue.
I think I'd said to you guys last week, that's the part of American sports that I would be more than open to seeing come in.
Which part? The salary cap?
Some of the financial structured rules, because and it has to be done differently. It has to be done carefully. Obviously, it's not as black and white as salary cap done.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there has to be different things, like what Cart talked about. Whether it's a spending cap, I think F1 when I think spending cap, right?
Right.
So if there's a spending cap, sure, that's one way of doing it. That might be a bit too extreme. Do you know what I mean? But a salary cap, I think, could be something useful, because then you would find it difficult for teams to have players sitting on the bench earning 150, 200 grand a week.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like that is the difference, right? There are clubs, again, I hark on about other clubs a lot. I got friends that support all kinds of teams. So, West Ham aren't going to have or are very unlikely to have a player sitting on their bench earning 200 grand a week, right?
I feel like it'd be so hard though to put in a salary cap type of system when you have United's and then you had Nottingham Forest here who couldn't even meet the salary cap problem.
Yeah. So what they would have to do, it would have to come in a there's a million things we'd have to think about and discuss for that to even be a possibility. But all I'm saying is those are the kind of rules you could begin to implement in some way. But obviously they'd have to do it in order to bring it about. They would have to say, right, we're going to start here and you get 8 exceptions. In 2 years' time, you get 5 exceptions or something like that. You know what I mean? And slowly bring it down, because you couldn't do it instantly, as you're saying. That wouldn't be feasible. I also think there needs to be a limit on the contract length. I think 8-year contracts is fucking ridiculous, because we all know the player has the power anyway. Realistically, when push comes to shove, it's rare that the club has the power. So if the manager falls out with a player that's on an 8-year deal and the player and him are publicly feuding, there comes a point where they're just going to cut ties and they're going to sell him. It's as simple as that. So that is just another way around financial rules, right? That's all it is.
Yeah.
And we all know that. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. There's so many aspects to it, man. It's
one of those things that you're never going to stop the cheaters that want to cheat, right? Because I mean, MLS has a salary cap, but you look at Miami and David Beckham, their first year they were an actual club, and they got hit with breaking the salary cap because Matt Tweedy's half of his contract was like bonuses. They got paid the following season, so they didn't report his salary appropriately and stuff like that. So the people that want to cheat are going to cheat no matter what. It's just a matter of how stern of a fist you actually hit them with. And I think that's what the interesting thing is going to be, is if there is any sort of justice for this that needs to be dealt with, how stern are they going to be? Because City's putting them in a light, themselves in a light right now that's, best team in football. How hard do you want to hit them? Do you send a message to everybody else that this is the line? Or do you go, this is the best team in football earning us the most money right now? Here's your slap on the wrist. Because I can see it going that way more than others.
It's definitely going to be something. Like, I was going to ask you guys this when we got into this section. I actually made a note of it. So it's kind of cool that we're talking about this right now because, it's not the players' fault. Do you agree?
Right.
Do you agree? Yeah. I agree. It's not the players' fault.
No, I don't think
right?
so.
So the City squad, right? They shouldn't have their personal accomplishments taken away. I don't think, right? So it has to be a club punishment, whether that's a transfer ban, but a one or two window transfer ban for City right now is not really going to hurt them that much.
Do you do competition bans though? Do you take them out of Champions League?
I mean, that's an option. I mean, honestly, relegation would be the one.
Like they did in with Juve?
Yeah, relegation would be the one.
I feel like that hurts more clubs than it hurts them though. Because if you send City down to the championship right now, they're gonna run amok. Like it's just there's no point. Holland's gonna score 200 goals a season.
They get what, 6 loans? That's the rule now. 6 loans they can loan out.
Yeah, if those players are prepared to stay, and I mean Juve was a different situation.
Yeah,
but I think Buffon stayed, right, because obviously
Buffon, Chiellini, but
there was some big time loyalty players in that list, but definitely some jumped ship, right, when it went down. So, but they had the backbone to easily work their way back up again. I don't know. I doubt it would ever happen, but I was thinking I thought we'd talk about this tonight, and for me, the biggest punishment, the only one that would really hurt them, is relegation.
Yeah. Relegation. The punishment is, I think, is important. How quickly the punishment gets done is also important. I don't know how quickly they can do it, but I hope they can do it quickly. But you think that if they do it too quickly, that City's throwing a lot of money at this case. Obviously, it's funny that the first reports are they're just mad because the person who did the investigation was an Arsenal fan. I thought that was kind of funny to come out in February.
The timing
the timing of it was just weird.
Well, then you look at like the Juve case happened mid-season and they got deducted 15 points, and then I think they got reversed. But
we are definitely going to talk about that during the Serie A.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
100%.
But you don't want it to come out mid-season though, right? Like I feel like it's got to be something that's done now in the off season or at the end of next season. You don't want it to come out mid-season and then completely change the tone of the season.
Yeah. Well, okay, so just real quick on the salary cap. The thing about obviously the United States salary cap is, or the salary cap in U.S. sports is, it was built on like a franchise system, right? Mm-hmm. England has had, in Europe has the pyramid, right, for so long, and clubs have worked so hard to get to the top of that pyramid that imposing a salary cap would, it could, I don't know. I feel like you could create some problems like that. I think it has to be a function of revenue, and you can't overstate your revenue as City have. I think that's the key. I think financial fair play in theory works, right? But if you're gonna get people cheating the system, it's not going to work, and it undermines the entire competition. It undermines UEFA, and which is why that this, whatever happens to City, I think has to be strong. Otherwise, UEFA are just getting bullied, and that's why like I'm surprised people aren't more kind of like alarmed by this. It's almost like everyone is resigned to the fact that they'll get lawyers, they'll get away with it. Even I'm resigned to that to some extent, but I'm still gonna voice my opinion about it, because this is kind of a big deal. Like, this is the crux of the issue of the problem with overspending in football, and this is it, right? This is why Arsenal went with whatever, Jorginho in January instead of Caicedo or Rice, or you know what I mean. Like, it's this is the crux of the issue, and to me it's just really important that it gets handled properly. Otherwise, you're just going to completely undermine a whole decade of football. But at the same time, if you're too strong with the punishment, then you have admitted that football has been cheated, and which is why I think also in Barcelona, the whole referee case, they don't really want to admit the problem, because it would just completely destroy Spanish football to some extent, because it's such a bad it's a bad look. It's a really bad look.
I think City are under the microscope more because they're winning. If you because PSG have been alleged by this kind of stuff for a long time. If you look at their spending, it's probably more aggressive than City, but they're just not winning outside of League One that anybody cares about. PSG starts winning UCL titles all of a sudden, I guarantee you it's going to be on the forefront of everybody's mind now. But
yeah, I was looking at PSG's salaries. They're like one of their players earns more a week than like the 20th place team does combined, all the players combined. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that's the type of imbalance that has been created by salary stuff. Okay, sorry, go ahead. I feel like we're going on for this one.
Well, to the point of salary cap, though, I know La Liga's had salary cap for a couple of years now. I think a decade now, almost, if not more. But it is based off of basically the top 4 clubs anyway. So you have a lot of clubs that can't even hit that. But it's possible. It's definitely possible. But I think you will have that situation where your relegation teams are struggling. They can't even do that anyways because they don't have the financial backing for it. But it's just more there to restrict your Champions League quality teams that don't have someone making 100K a week or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Forgive me if I'm wrong. The idea behind salary cap, stuff like that, is it was to stop the dynasties, right?
Yes.
It was to stop the 7, 8, 9, 10-year dynasties. Yeah. Well, that's what we have in football right now. Yeah. So we have to look at other sports that have come up with a way, because I would I like it if any team out of that 20 in the Prem could win the league? It would be bloody interesting, wouldn't it?
That's one of the things that I personally took a liking to when MLS when I came back to the States was it's anybody's race every single year, because you never know what's going to happen.
To be fair, the thing with that is, compared to other football leagues, right? If you compare MLS with Europe, that's kind of what kind of turns me off to MLS. Is like I like kind of having those big teams, that City versus Real Madrid in the Champions League, knowing and I begin to. I learn more about. I feel like I learn more about those teams, kind of thing. Maybe I'm just not giving enough attention to MLS. Like, I don't know who's the starting striker of Kansas City. I don't know. I just don't know.
I couldn't tell you either, and I'm a fan of MLS.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. So I think that's the. I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing to have these kind of big institutions of European football. I don't think, and to be honest, that is what we have. It's very difficult to get to that level, and it should take time. But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. That's just my. I don't know.
You still have a dynasty in Real Madrid, and they have a
like the idea of dynasty is each country has their own team. Like it's like they have a couple teams, a handful of teams that are like the big clubs where the talent is gonna they're gonna try to pick up the talent from that country and whatever take them to that team, or big teams in Europe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm against dynasties in that sense, because I like the idea of AC Milan. I like in my mind, like I like the idea of AC Milan being this big team from Milan with a big history.
Okay, so then my question to you is, why shouldn't Fulham be that team at some point? Why shouldn't Derby County be that team at some point?
I think it encourages more. It takes, if you
Not
implement something
change,
like that, because like the way La Liga has theirs, right, is the way it sets that up is now the dynasty is those long-term players like Modric, Kroos, and those Sergio Ramoses and the Messis who are there for so long, or the coaches who are there for so long. I think that becomes the dynasty, not so much just the club that has the money to continue that dynasty. I think that's what the change would be.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. I mean, look, there's a million factors to it. There's no way we could cover them all right now anyway. There'd be a million counterpoints to every counterpoint as well, because there's just far too many facets about it. Do you know what I mean? But I just would like to see more parity across the entire division. I don't think, like, I don't think Arsenal, Man United, I don't think Chelsea, City, I don't think any of them have a God-given right to be in the top 4 every year.
You want more Leicesters?
Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be. Leicester was such a unique blend that season. But even in the older days, you've had successful teams like, as Cart said, the AC Milans, the Real Madrid eras, the Man United eras. You've had those eras, but there was more parity. You still would get other teams popping up. It really only changed for the worse when it became the Premier League and all the money behind that. You know what I mean? Like that's when it started to change. And then obviously the oil money coming in, Abramovich changed it massively. And then, City went down that road as well. And all I'm saying is there's no God-given right that because you were a successful club in the 90s, that you should always be a successful club, or you shouldn't have periods of time where another team is up doing that. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
The gap between the haves and the have-nots is bigger than it's ever been, in my opinion. And I don't think, like, that's another reason. It's on the million list of reasons why I can't be upset at Arsenal's season or the fact that we didn't win. Am I disappointed individually? A little bit, yes, because we were in a great position. But, like, I was talking to a mate of mine on the weekend back home who's a West Ham fan, and, he's like, it's been an all right season for us, but, like, that's all we can hope for. I mean, that's depressing. Like, I feel for those fans,
Well, then you have Brighton, you have Newcastle, you have these teams overachieving, like, I mean, it's not like it's not Fulham, right? Everyone picked Fulham to be down. They're staying up comfortably. Like it takes like I read about the financial fair play. If it's followed, small clubs should have, if they follow a process and make the right decisions, should have the opportunity to, eventually qualify for Europe. The owner is allowed to spend endlessly on infrastructure, on the youth academies. There's no limit. There's no limit on these things, right? So a owner can come in and spend on these things to, renovate the stadium, things like that. Increase revenue that way. The measures are in place.
It's like everything else in the world, in my opinion, where the rich get richer. Do you know what I mean?
No, but the rich, okay, the rich will only get richer, the way, commercially, right? We have, and they shouldn't, that's the thing. I don't think you can track that back, because it didn't begin with the franchise system. You can't track back the global reach that these big clubs have. You just can't. And you can't penalize them for that either,
I'm
right?
not saying you should penalize them, but I think you should even the playing field for these other teams to give them a chance to get there. And that salary cap should not only just be players either, by the way. That should be staff, that should be groundskeeper, physios, there should be scouts, everything.
Well, now you're just doing the groundskeeper dirty because
No, because there will be some groundskeepers that are not getting paid very much, and they would get better paid. No, but like
then you show up and the turf's a mess, and now you got to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. But like my point being that I think more parity across it all. There's a million facets, and we could go back and forth forever, and we're not going to do that tonight because there's other shit to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
We could talk about this forever. I personally wish there was more parity, and I think that the gap from me between them has never been big. I'm not saying you should penalize those big clubs for the marketing they did and the commercialization stuff that they rightly did, but the fact that your owner could put in endless amounts here without. And we know that this owner can't. The disparity between that it'll just never change, in my opinion. But
it will. It will though. Because look at Newcastle. They just got bought, and now they're there.
But not every club.
Yeah, everybody. There's not endless money in the world. You're right.
Yeah, there's not 20 oil sheiks out there.
There's not
buy a team.
No, there theoretically probably is. People want to buy into the Super League, but all clubs need is someone who's interested.
A rich sugar daddy. That's your solution then. A rich sugar daddy for every club. That's your.
Well, how else are they supposed to spend money?
What do you mean?
How else are they supposed to spend money?
It's not. No one's saying that you won't be able to spend any money. That's not what financial regulations means. It just means regulations to make it fairer for everybody.
Okay, but so you want to take away?
I'm surprised you're on the other side of the fence. But it seems to me you just want Man United to stay way above it and not have to worry about 10 other teams.
No, that is not it. That's not it at all. I don't want to undermine the success of these footballing institutions in the world.
Yeah, but what gives you the right to be an institution more than Fulham?
Historically.
Well, and what about the future? The past is the past, isn't it?
Who gave us the right in 1900 to be a historic? No one. We didn't have. We earned it.
An Arsenal title, we get told, that was in the past. So that's in the past.
No, Arsenal are a big team. I mean, they're not a. So they have all the pieces in place to grow to be just as big as Real Madrid. Real Madrid and Barca have a stronghold on the fan base, but that's the. So you want to take away from Real Madrid and Barcelona, so that Fulham can be on their level. That's what you're saying.
That's not.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. No, that is exactly what you said.
I think
by saying.
Go on, Michael. Go on, get in there.
Go.
What's to say that copy and pasting La Liga structure to EPL is bad?
I'm not just talking EPL. I'm talking football in general. I'm talking football in general.
Why can't we copy and paste that around? Because if you look,
we could.
What financial fair play is you could spend trillions and trillions and trillions on your infrastructure, your stadium, your everything there, but you have a restriction on players. Why can't we imply that? And what it should be is
we technically do have that,
but we clearly don't because the EPL is like, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I'm saying this whole city thing is very important to be. It needs to be handled with properly. That's exactly why I'm saying it. No, Milo, what I'm saying is. You want Fulham to be on the same level as Barca.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
Then what are you saying?
I want more parity. You're just taking the extreme version of what I'm saying, which I get because that's how these.
20 years down the road, fine. 20 years down the road.
It's just that's how these conversations tend to go. People go from one extreme to the other. I'm not talking instantly take this club and put them here, or take this club that has been historically amazing and put them at the bottom. That's not what parity is. For me, I just want more parity so that more teams have a chance to do well. Because if there's more, and it's not an instant fix. There is no instant fix. Nothing I say will be able. We could spend the next 20 hours probably talking about it, and we still wouldn't have all the answers. People that get paid far more than I do will come up with the rules. No, but it's just I want more parity. I want it to be closer. I want Nottingham Forest to have a chance to get back to, they won back-to-back European Cups.
Yeah, that exact to my point, Nottingham Forest. They've fallen. They're historic. They were really good back in the day, and they've fallen. It can happen.
They were, but they never had the reach. They never had the. And I'm not saying that you should be punished for having the marketing.
Exactly. That is kind of what you're saying, though.
No, it isn't. I don't. I literally said I don't want to punish anyone for what they've done in the past, but we need to. We all agree we need to improve football moving forward, right?
Well, you can't have cheats. You can't have cheats. I would say Arsenal had a good, honest season and a good, honest title challenge. I can't say that about City. Do you see the problem there? That is the problem.
I agree that that's a problem. I want financial fair play, but I want it to be better than what it is now, and I also want financial parity. That's what I want. So I think we want the same thing, but we're attacking it from different angles. Personally, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know about you, Michael.
No, we sort of want the same thing, yeah, but we're definitely attacking it from different angles because you want to take away from what clubs have. I'm saying you have to give opportunity to quote unquote smaller clubs to get to where the big clubs are. I don't want to decrease what the big clubs have in order to raise what Fulham can get. I want the big clubs to stay there and then all the other clubs to be able to get there, and you will need wealthy benefactors. I'm sorry. It's not going to come for free.
I never said that I want to take what you have and give it to other people.
Well, you said parity.
Parity meaning level playing field for everybody.
No,
I'm not saying
right, but in 50 years,
you're putting words in my mouth. I won't have that. Okay.
No,
you said that I want to take something you have and give it to somebody else because nothing in life is free. Nothing.
No. When I said clubs can be bought by wealthy benefactors, that is how you're going to decrease parity. You said no.
No, because there aren't just 20 rich sugar daddies that can come in.
There are.
Yeah, but
there are. Okay,
but unless it was a rule that one has to, then it wouldn't be fucking parity, would it?
Wait, what do you mean has to?
Well, unless the rule was you have to have a rich sugar daddy and you have to have this amount of money to own a football club, then there wouldn't be parity still. And we would be arguing.
You have to have investment. You have to have investment.
So here's a very basic version of what I see. Okay, this is real basic. This is not. You can't take this as black and white. Milo said this. This is how he feels because there are a million points to this, right? But here's brass tacks. If the limit, let's call the limit you can spend, is 500 million. I'm just throwing that number out there. Doesn't mean anything. Please don't take that as the be all.
Well, I will say this. Now we are MLS, but go ahead.
Okay. I mean,
what do you want me to do? If you're putting a hard cap on spending, what do you mean?
Okay, look. Do you want me to explain what I mean or no?
Sorry, go ahead.
Otherwise, you're just going with what you think I meant, which is incorrect.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, as an example, hypothetical, not factual, not set in stone.
Okay, then I don't know. Okay,
the limit was 500 million. Okay. Now, Man City, we know, can spend up to that 500 million, no problem. Okay, great. That's fair. They can spend up to that, no problem. Not a dollar more, right? That's the rule. Okay. Fulham, I'm going to use Fulham as an example. I'm sorry, Fulham fans. I have nothing
They're
special.
Just catching strays all episode.
I like Fulham. Fulham's one of my teams. Clint Dempsey, Brian McBride.
I have no connection to Fulham whatsoever, but I am using them as an example as an old, established London club. Not a rich history, but they have had some, whatever. You get my point. So we have this cap of 500 mil spending, right?
Right.
City go up to, and that cap could be whatever you want. It could be 8 trillion if that's what you want it to be. I don't care.
Okay. Yeah.
So
let's say it's capped at what the highest spenders can spend.
No, let's not say that.
Okay.
Because that wouldn't be fair. So, but hang on. Just hang on.
Okay.
Let me finish. So they have this cap. I'm hypothetically calling 500 million. Okay.
Is this transfer cap or salary cap? Which one?
Everything.
Let's call it everything, just for the sake of this argument. Again, I don't want to get that much minutia.
I got you. I'm working with you by saying set the cap at the highest.
We can't go into.
I'm working with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying we can't go into that minute of a detail because guess what? We'll be doing this show for 24 hours and we'll need a lawyer. Right? But I agree with you. So far. So yeah, Tin, don't ask what currency we're talking about. For fuck's sake, we're never going to end this conversation. It's in yen. Okay, there you go. So it's like what, £20 or something? I don't know. Anyway, right. So we've got 500 million. City can spend up to that. We know they can do that with ease. Right, done. Fulham, for example, let's say they can spend 150 million within that cap. Right. So it's still City still have the advantage. That's fine. But that cap alone, it gives them a chance to work up to something that is not endless. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still think it would lead to eventual closer. I'm not looking for instant change from Wolves here to Wolves Champions League. I'm not looking for anything instant. I'm looking for over time to bring that gap closer between the haves and the have-nots in order to make the product that we're watching more competitive, to give other clubs the chance to win trophies. Because I just don't think that because you have a rich history gives you a God-given right to always be in the mix. I just don't.
Okay, yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. Let me just repeat what financial fair play in theory is supposed to do. Okay, I'll just read it.
Okay. Yeah.
By favoring investments in youth and stadium infrastructure, and by setting the acceptable deficits in absolute millions of dollars, terms and not relative percentage, right? That's the cap you're talking about. Hard cap, not percentage of how big the club is. Hard cap on all clubs. The break-even assessment has been structured to be less restrictive on smaller clubs and smaller and medium clubs, i.e. Fulham, currently Nottingham Forest, and in time, more smaller and medium clubs will have the potential to grow. That they have the potential to grow, but the way they're trying to invest, they're trying to get clubs to invest into clubs. They're trying to get owners to invest into clubs is through youth and stadium infrastructure, right? That's where they want clubs to pump money in, owners to pump their money into, rather than, pump money into players who will die off in a year, 3 years or 4 years, and then they're left with this debt, right? Yep. They want them to build value as a club rather than that first team of players. And that's exactly what the goal is of financial fair play. Obviously, it's not being followed, which is why I think this is a big issue. Yeah.
It's also an admirable goal, but then the sugar daddies take away from that.
No, they can't spend endlessly. The sugar. Look at Newcastle. I think that Newcastle are doing it by the book right now. They didn't when Mike Ashley was owner. The financial fair play is a rolling 3-year tally. Right, they spent well under the limit each year. The last couple of years of Mike Ashley, which made Newcastle so much more attractive. Obviously, you add to that they have history, right? They have a big history, and that will always be a
fan base
factor.
Was superly frustrated under Mike Ashley for however long that was,
and until all these clubs with big history are available, while they're available, I'm sorry to the smaller clubs like I don't know, Fulham or whatever you want to call it.
Plymouth, Argyle,
Plymouth, right? They're not going to be owners' first choice. They're not going to be the first choice of owners. Then you have situations like Wrexham and Salford or whatever. Those are different approaches, but it's not a quick fix for them either. They have to do it in a process, which is better for football as a whole. And imagine if what you're saying was allowed for a team in non-league football, for an owner to go there and buy it. They would just buy the whole league, or not buy the whole league, but just buy an amazing team, put them in that league, completely out of whack relatively with everyone else, right? That's why this idea, you can't cap, you can cap relative to revenue, I understand, but but being so stringent with those rules, you can't make any big decisions with such a system that's been in existence for so long, because so that's why financial fair play needs to be respected, and that's why this city thing is a big deal.
Where do you sit on it? Because you're missing for a good chunk of that heated debate there. Even though we I think me and Cart have the same goal.
We have the same goal. We do.
Different ways of getting there.
But I totally think you can't penalize the clubs that make This isn't even about Manchester United. Like, I'm just thinking, like, Real Madrid, because of the rules being, slowly degenerating, like you can't allow them to degenerate. You have to allow even Real Madrid to strengthen their grasp on world football as from a fan perspective. I really don't think you can do that because we didn't start with the franchise mode. Like, even like, look at LAFC. They came into existence recently. They're the most valuable club in MLS, right away. Boom. They've been in existence for what, maybe 10 years, maybe?
3 years.
Greg,
3 years.
Greg, you missed it. We got right into it, mate.
Yeah, and we're getting right out of it. Actually, Hoff, you can have the final word on this. Yeah, sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding financial fair play right. It only applies to your club if you're operating at a loss, right? It limits losses.
Well, it limits losses and it also you're limited to how much you can spend.
It does limit spending. Okay, I thought
it's
just
relative
limited,
to
you can't operate at X amount of deficit for a rolling 3-year period.
Right. No. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
So if
on
you're
net
not
spend,
operating
like
at a
that.
deficit at all, if you have less than reputable sponsorships coming in and you're not operating at a loss at all, then it doesn't apply to you, right? I mean, you still have to follow it, but it doesn't. Yeah. You're not concerned with it, is what I mean.
No. If you follow the rules, you're not concerned at all. No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I
don't know what. Sorry,
I was beating around the bush.
No, we're talking about smaller clubs getting to the level.
Rip the bush down. That's what we do. Me and Cart do it every week.
No, but when
we're worried about smaller clubs like Chelsea right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're selling your stadium rights for well above what any normal company would pay for it to yourself, that's concerning. Because, I mean, that's how you get around it, right? Your income is more than your expenditures. And if that income is inflated, then, like, you should skate until you start phoning up these sponsors and getting, like, a P.O. box in, I don't know, in Sheffield that's, like, that no one is there.
All right.
I have one more idea.
Basically, if you don't break the rules, you shouldn't be worried. I think that's how it should be. Just like Arsenal. And if you break the rules, you should be worried. And if you're fucked over by someone who broke the rules, you should be pissed. But Arsenal fans.
You do think the rules could be improved in addition to not just breaking them?
Well, okay. The thesis of financial fair play, I agree with. Now, in the business world, I don't think true transparency is easily obtainable, which is why, I don't know what kind of rules you could change on that front. Maybe, if European football, like the top clubs, like the Super League clubs, if they decide, $350,000 a week is the maximum we will spend, we'll pay a player. If they say something like that, I can respect that, But you can't put a cap on clubs that are earning, You can't put a cap on clubs that are earning.
I do disagree with you there, but that's okay.
Yeah. I don't think the Super League clubs account, those 12 clubs, they account for 50% of all of football fans in the world, right? Or something like that. Some crazy number like that. You can't. It's like asking you to change your fan. Stop, Milo. Arsenal has too many fans. I need you to become a Fulham fan. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do that. I think we agree.
Another counter to your point. So okay, you can have X amount of players that earn $350,000 a week. That still will close the gap because you can't have 11 players that earn $350,000 a week. Yeah. But you could have 2. Therefore, that will close the gap with the other teams. That's what I'm talking about. So my goal. Tim asked in chat, like, what is the goal? My goal is sure. I agree with you. The rules need to be adhered to, and you need to abide by the rules, or you should be punished. I agree 100%. But my goal would be, in addition to financial fair play, would be parity in the product, the sports product. Do you know what I mean? And I know it would take an absolute monstrosity of a change to get there. I do have a non-financial way to help as well, which I've talked about in the past before, and I think you guys like the idea, was having a rule about you must use X amount of youth or academy players in your match day squad.
Yep.
Because that would also limit the amount of subs you can have on the bench. You can't have 8 guys on the bench that earn 300 grand a week. Then you've got to have 5 academy players on the bench or as part of your match day squad. What that would do is 2 things. It would help with the parity of teams. It would help with blooding youngsters into the Premier League and high level football. And it would force teams to go down that road, and in my opinion, that would benefit the youth players anyway. So
there's a lot of leagues around the world that have that already implemented.
Yeah,
but you also see the negative side of that. You don't hear a lot of those leagues competing for big trophies. So.
Yeah,
it's I think that would become like kind of a opportunity cost.
True. I agree with you. I agree with you. There needs to be more parity, and like I said, that's one of the things that attracted me to MLS, is that every dog has his day in this league because of some of the rules that are implemented. But I also understand that turns away a lot of fans because it is hard. Like, 2 years ago, my Timbers were in the MLS Cup final. The year after that, last year, we missed the playoffs. So it's hard sometimes. But at the same time, that's what makes it fun for me. So I think it's just a different breed of fan, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's American sports, though, right? That's the sporting culture we're brought up in, right? It's like you're not gonna going back to back, like, doing 3-peats and stuff like that, like the Lakers and stuff, is just purely like it's all like technical director stuff, right? They put a squad together with the right contracts, right? Contracts are such a big deal, right? We got this guy, he's he has potential, we'll get him on this contract, and he'll be here for this period of time while Kobe's here, or like, what I mean? Like, it's such a, the directors are so involved in the process. What? That's why I'm saying Edu has got to be feeling really good right about now at Arsenal, because he's done such a good job, and he should be rewarded.
Is that what people are afraid of in European sports? Is that it needs to be an entire club effort and not just the 11 plus the manager? Because I think it should, because that's one of the things that I think for Arsenal you should be very happy with, and I'm sure you are, Milo, that this club did it the right way with all the youngsters and the grooming and putting all this team together.
I mean, I think it's too early to say they've done it that way because they haven't done it.
Right, but you didn't
ask me again
you didn't Chelsea it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that, and in principle, yes, I fully agree, and there's that
draft picks.
There's that pride side of me that would be like, I'd love to see us have a successful run without that. But I said this last week too. Let's not pretend the Cronkies haven't pumped a lot of money into this team in the last 5 years, because they have.
Yeah,
they really have. Like, compared to what we pumped into the team in the previous 20 years, do you know what I mean? They really have. So it's not like I understand we're a big part of the financial debate as well. Like, but again, I think it's not, for me, it's not about Arsenal and City and that difference, honestly, in my head. For me, the problem is the difference between City and Fulham.
Yeah. I think in
West Brom. Let's go with
MLS.
Sorry, Fulham.
In MLS, the a player coming through the apex is getting into the first team of their club, but it's not like going to the Galaxy or something. It's not leaving a club and going to another MLS club. It's going to Europe. It's still the dream is playing for Madrid, Barca, United, Arsenal. It's like, what I mean, like
that's
the structure.
For me, it's a whole different problem. And Michael and Hoff, both big MLS fans, I'd love to get your take on this. I think, Michael, you said maybe a different breed of fan, but like the MLS, it's just, for a longest time, American sports fans scoffed at the idea of soccer, right?
Well,
like, apart from a core collective, there is a large amount of American sports fans that scoffed at the idea of soccer. So has that changed? I think that narrative has definitely changed.
Absolutely.
Big time.
I mean, so TVUSA alone is
which is fantastic.
But
they'll never have, to Cart's point earlier, the Galaxy will never ever have the draw of Real Madrid, no matter what they do, ever.
No.
It's
No.
never going to happen.
Even within MLS, I don't think there's a draw to be like they want to be the top paid player at a franchise, right? That's the draw. If you get a better contract somewhere else, you move. Basically, that's it's just all purely money, money based. Like if you can get that designated player contract or international designated player contract, I don't even know what all the details are on contracts in MLS, but like you just go. That's it. Boom. Like you don't even have to think about it. No club allegiance or whatever. Maybe a couple teams, players have that for their club, but like it's
we've had 4 players that have been here for 10+ years. So I think
okay. There you go.
It's just you gotta. That again comes down to my point earlier, where it comes down to off the field stuff. You got to find that technical director, that president of football operations that wants to go and find that player who wants to, be there for 10 years or wants to put the franchise on his back and be that franchise player. So. Yeah,
and I totally think that's a big thing for MLS clubs, right? Because it's such a localized fan base that you have these, like who was it, Chris Klein at the Galaxy, right? He was like a household name. Kobe Jones, obviously Landon Donovan, right? These guys, they stay at the club. You become a fan of the player at the club, etc. So like that, it still has value. Like
Tim
Duncan.
David Diaz spent almost a decade in New York after he left Barca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he got that franchise off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a tough comparison because for the reasons I'm saying is because kids are growing up, watching Barcelona 09 and they're not like, I want to play for Fulham one day, It's like it's such a long-term change that has to be made and the rules have to be respected and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, not every kid growing up is the next R9, so
exactly.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of that. I really do. But then I also think that's why you need additional rules. That's what I guess that's where I'm going is additional rules and stipulations. Which sure, it's complicated, but you know what? That's for the lawyers to handle, not the fans. And,
yeah.
But my point being, you can't if you don't have a team that can pay $250,000 a week to their first 16 players. Right, if you have some rules within that salary structure, then a team like Fulham can work to compete because let's say City don't have a slot. There's this player that's available and he's amazing. Everybody wants him. Well, they can't offer him $350,000 because they have too many. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we have too many in that slot. We can't fill that. So guess what? Alvarez has to go somewhere else. That improves that other team. Closes the gap a tiny bit, right? And that will have a domino effect throughout football. But again, the other bad thing about it is the whole of European football would have to be under the same umbrella, same rules. Otherwise, it would just never work.
Which is why FFP should be respected, and they need to be strong with the rules. I think we can.
Greg, Alvarez is a great example. To be fair,
Alvarez is a phenomenal example. I remember when they signed Erling Haaland, I was like, "Sorry, Alvarez, like, so go your dreams."
Okay,
but it's his fault. He should, if he's serious, because in part of this, I think, is the player's fault. If he wants to show the world that, guess what, I'm a top world-class centre forward and I can bang in goals week in, week out, he needs to push for a move.
Yep.
If he's content with sitting on the bench, earning ridiculous money, and playing a bit part role, I mean, your legacy's not. No one's going to remember the name Alvarez. That's what I would tell him.
That could also be Man City's.
I think
effect because they know that maybe Erling Haaland isn't going to stay there for more than 2-3 seasons. I mean, if he wins the treble this year, maybe he's like, "Oh, it's cool. Real Madrid's going to do it next year with me."
Yeah, Alvarez is a World Cup winner, Brad, and that's great. And ask Argentinian fans how they feel about City leaving him on the bench every week because they are not happy about it.
True.
The Alvarez situation, what you're talking about, falls under wages, right? And wages should be a function of revenue, right? The percentage of revenue. And if City's, sponsorship deals or whatever are all legal, and you can afford Alvarez on the bench, in my opinion, let him stay on the bench.
And in 20 years' time, you'll say to me, Milo, do you remember Julian Alvarez? I'll be like, no. Who?
Yeah, well, that's up to Alvarez. That's up to Alvarez.
Yeah,
Yeah, this. You know what, Tin? You are right. This has become a financial show.
It is,
and it's very, very important right now. It's very, very important right now because of what's happening with Man City. If you look on, every broadcast talk, everyone's talking about it.
You know what we need, Carl? We need like the heated show of the segment brought to you by Red Hot Cheetos or something.
Yeah, I gotta set the game show lookup, where we have a timer, on each section, kind of keep us moving. You gotta get that going.
But you know what? That's fine.
I think it's fine. Exactly.
You wanted a more open format, and this is
exactly.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think it's a healthy debate to have, and we all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know people. Early in the show, people were like, "All right, on," but I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it.
Another point on this to drag this subject out more, though.
Sure.
is
Do it.
So, what do you think about leagues having their own built-in financial fair play, kind of like what Bundesliga has, where you're only allowed to have so much of this certain loss that they're subject to. So what if Premier League implemented their own financial fair play that they had to subdue to, not so much UEFA's?
I think, I think that's up to, I think that's fine. I think, like La Liga, right? They have certain rules which, in the short term, are really hurting the big clubs, right? Like Barcelona's in some deep issues because of their previous wage structures, and then they implemented a wage structure. Post Messi, and they're having struggles with it. I don't know what the long-term ideal look of this La Liga thing is. It has to depend. I think it really depends on what the president of each league wants, how they want to see their league in 20, 25 years. Because it's not a short-term. These rules aren't in place for short-term fixes. They're meant to be long-term fixes. I'd imagine. So it just depends on what the president or whatever the board of the league want to see from the league, I think. But yeah, I'm very, very much in favor of do whatever you want, do whatever you want. But I'm also in favor of don't punish those who have created, some sort of momentum. You can't kill people's momentum.
Okay, I created a circle. We should move on.
Yeah, you have. The circle
I recognized it right away. Yeah.
Because I literally, I'm like, what? No, don't do it.
Nope.
Yeah, it's so bad I didn't even notice we were going circled. That's how bad it. All right, big news today. Newcastle got a point against Leicester. Big point for Leicester as well. They had a late chance, almost won it at the end, but they go into the final weekend in 18th place. If Everton win, Everton stay up. In order for Leeds or Leicester to stay up, Everton must drop points. But Newcastle qualified for top four. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Really big for them. I saw Nabi Solano in the stands. I remember watching him a little bit growing up. Legendary. I don't know. He was fun to watch. It's always fun when you hear. It's always fun when you hear these guys for the first time. It's like you just see him. He looks like a regular dude, and then he has a Colombian accent or whatever. I don't know. It's just, you know what I mean? You don't really think about it. I don't really think about ethnicity or anything until I hear them speak or something, or like where they grew up or whatever. It's kind of neat. Yeah. Did you guys ever have that moment with any player? Okay, sorry. If you did, if you do.
Wayne
you
Rooney.
just heard their voice and it was like, what the fuck? Yeah, Wayne Rooney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, any Scouser.
I think anybody from like Belgium always threw me off.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like I remember Lukaku when he was at United. He did an interview, but he was doing it for some French channel. So hearing him speak fluent French, I was just like, shit, I forgot he's Belgian. Holy shit.
When I heard William Saliba for the first time, I was like, whoa. Because he had like a super deep voice, I think, William Saliba. I was like, whoa. Because he's like a kid, right? These are all kids.
David Luiz speaking Portuguese always threw me off, too.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff. Okay. Anything else in the Premier League? Oh, Brighton qualifying for Europe for the first time in their 120 2-year history. Speaking of, clubs like Fulham getting bigger, like Brighton, this is what technical, this is what directors and quote unquote Moneyball are doing. They're going to generate a lot of money from sales of McAllister, etc. But can they hang in there despite selling? That's the tricky bit,
Yeah,
they don't have a right. They don't have a right to keep Alexis McAllister there. If McAllister wants to go to Liverpool or Madrid or wherever he's rumored to be going, you can't stand in the way, and that's just ultimately the situation we have in European football compared to salary cap and stuff like that.
Their season is really impressive.
I thought we'd moved on from that.
Sorry, it's just that's. It's very relevant though, right? Because Brighton are gonna, they have a lot of players: Caicedo, McAllister,
and I will feel more agreeable with you on it when there's 10 other teams with having the same kind of chance as that.
Yeah, get the directors. Get the directors.
Yeah, the circle. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back in there. Let's
Sorry,
get away
sorry,
from
sorry.
But
Okay, let's go.
Cart couldn't resist.
What else is in the Premier League?
Cart couldn't resist interjecting his point one extra time. Did you see that?
I do want to give a big shout out to.
But they are. They're gonna. McAllister's gonna be
trying.
sold. Caicedo's gonna be sold. Estupinian could be sold. Lewis Dunk's probably gonna stay. Sanchez is probably gonna be sold. I feel like Robert Sanchez might go to United.
That Gross, I think, is gonna be leaving soon too. I think.
Pascal Gross.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Mitoma could be moving. There's rumors to him going to Barcelona.
Hey, shout out to them for that season. I mean, they lost
Amazing season.
Cucurella early in the season, and they lost their coach in the middle of the season, and they still managed to. I mean, they could, in theory, still finish fifth if Liverpool shit the bed and Brighton wins both of theirs in hand. But
yeah,
that's a crazy run for them.
Yeah, I think they just need. Yeah. Well, anyways, just another example. Because like okay.
Here it comes.
Like, yeah,
I'm doing
Gundogan is not gonna. Gundogan will need to be replaced at City by somebody, right? So where they unless they create Gundogan from within their club, they're gonna have to. Yeah. So then that takes away from Bayern, and now Bayern's weaker, and they have to fill their void. And
that'll be another player earning 350 grand a week or whatever.
Ultimately, it's going to be a player from Fulham, and then Fulham is cut down again. Like it's just there is a hierarchy in European football. In MLS,
Tom Kearney to City.
Like I said,
sorry.
I don't want to go down this road.
I'm not trying to go down it. I'm just saying that
you are, because you keep trying to end it with your.
But it is the truth. We're talking about now.
Chat, you see what he's doing, right?
We're talking about now, though.
But with his opinion as a.
All right. Sorry. I mean, what am I supposed to do? They are gonna replace Gundogan, and McAllister's probably gonna be sold. Like these
not one extreme to the other. Just asking for more rules to.
I think
I'm not even commenting on that. I'm just saying they have to replace McAllister. That's all I'm saying.
You briefly mentioned, I think the key, especially for like Brighton. Sorry, damn, I'm dying over here.
It's this conversation.
Look at the 18th place team. They won the league.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
They're in 18th place right now. Leicester.
Who? Oh yeah, Leicester.
That team won the league, and they sold their best. Well, they kept Vardy. Everyone else is gone.
They sold their best center back to.
Yeah. But.
Ha.
But I mean, I don't know. I obviously the club structures and stuff are probably different, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility that a similar fate could fall upon Brighton if they misspend their money that they get from McAllister or Caicedo, from whoever. I mean, it could happen to any club. I mean, Everton have been flirting with relegation.
I want Everton to go down so bad.
I just want them to be
done with it.
Leicester might go down. West Ham have been down. It's just like big clubs can go down. That's part of the danger.
They got small clubs coming up. Look at Luton.
Yeah. Right?
Luton.
God, Premier League game at their stadium. Jeez.
Other news: Bobby Firmino has played his last match for Liverpool at home. really cool moment with Ogie when he scored. It was nice. Had to be him.
Them serenading him.
Amazing acrobatics though. It was like the physics of that whole goal was pretty satisfying. I don't know, like Firmino
really
just bounced off the opponent.
I'm really happy for him to be leaving. I think he's been undervalued and underutilized for the last 2 seasons.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's kind of a cult legend.
He's got so much football left in his legs that I think Liverpool kind of did him dirty with kind of almost pushing him out, I feel like. But I would love to see him take some team over and just show that he's got it all left.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he's got some.
I just looked at the wage tables. It's worse than I thought.
It is.
Yeah. See how the graph goes like this.
I should. Maybe we should do a whole episode on this in the summer because we need content for the wrap-up show in the summer.
Oh yeah, we do.
You know,
we definitely
so
do.
we should do this.
Cart, you and I were kind of talking about this in my chat the other day. It was Liverpool's losing, was it 3 legends? Firmino, Milner, and who was the other one? No, not Keita. Keita's not a legend, but
no, I don't know if the 2 legends and then Keita and Ox.
Ox is kind of like a cult legend for Liverpool.
He's a legend on the bench,
True.
No, I don't know. I'm not a Liverpool fan. Maybe he is a legend. I don't know. But yeah, massive midfield overhaul for Liverpool, and that's why McAllister and who knows who else is probably going to end up at Liverpool. It'll be interesting to see what Liverpool do in the summer. Looks like Bellingham's going to Madrid. So that'll be happening. I think like a James Ward-Prowse would be a perfect move for Liverpool.
The Bellingham to Madrid is actually really interesting. After I saw that they are announcing Kroos and Modric are getting extended again, so they have like a really not only good depth in midfield, but such great leadership to pass down to those 3 young lads. And Touchmane and Camavinga's already, you saw him play left back now too, so they're literally utilizing him all over. So
that is what I'm talking about when I say a team needs depth to compete with City. You know, like that's the kind of depth we're talking about right there. My goodness, we can all only dream. About what that would feel like.
Saga just brought up Suarez. Suarez is scoring left and right for Grêmio, by the way, in the Brazilian league. He scored another great goal yesterday or day before yesterday. Who would have
thought that was going to happen?
He is just going off in the Brazilian league. He's just so good. I love Luis Suarez. On field, well, maybe even on field is a little controversial, but I just love that style of player. He's like a Jermaine Defoe on crack,
He's a bit bitey though, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a little bit bitey.
A little bit. So Liverpool, unfortunately, that draw is going to make it real tough. The final Champions League plays, all United need is a draw, as a point from their last 2 games, and they're in Europe. Chelsea on Thursday, big match coming up.
If City wins the Champions League, right? Isn't there an extra?
No, they don't do that anymore.
No,
I don't. No.
They just made it that the max you can have is 5. So if City were 5th, they would get that 5th spot.
Yeah.
Or if they won the Europa League, either. They're not in it, but
yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
On the United front, I mean, we don't need to talk more Premier League, but United just need a point from the last 2 games. Liverpool drawing was massive for us, massive. I thought it was either going to be United or Newcastle that slip up first, but it ended up being Liverpool against that Unai Emery team. I do think United summer is also going to be very interesting. I mean, we talk about it a lot, but we'll talk more about it next week. Possible David De Gea replacement, Harry Kane, center back, right back, midfielder, all that stuff. So a lot to get to there. I'm excited for the summer. Garnacho is back in the team. He's come back from injury and he's hit the ground running already. Just he's doing really well for us. He signed a new contract till 2028. But yeah. Anyways, a lot of stuff going on in the Premier League. Anything else in the Premier League before we move on to other leagues, guys? Anything you want to mention? Anything good happening at Spurs? Harry Kane scored another banger in a loss.
That was a nice. I mean, that's been like at the beginning.
Kind of dig I can live with.
At the beginning of the season, I was saying, "Oh, all these matches are the same thing. Play like shit in the first half, play great in the second half. Now at the end of the season, it's the same thing again. Like, yep, Harry Kane scored a nice goal and we lost. So yeah, it's whatever. I don't
62 goals on the year for you guys is a lot. Especially with the defense that you have. That's a very leaky defense for.
They're fucking terrible.
You guys have conceded and scored 60 plus goals. I think you're like one of the first teams to do that since Spurs in like 2008 or something.
It's a Spurs thing to do. Yeah.
Was it 07? No, it wasn't 08. I think it was 04,
somewhere in there.
05?
Somewhere in there.
Late aughties.
João Cancelo and Declan Rice rumored to be going to Arsenal. Mm-hmm. I like the Declan Rice. I'm not sure about João Cancelo. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade on what you currently like, which is what you currently have is you don't really have an attacking right back.
If it's for depth, I'm all for it, mate. Yeah, I've talked about it all year long. Quality depth is. If it means we're not bringing in back Cedric Suarez from loan and putting him at right back, I'm all fucking for it, mate. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to dwell too much on the transfer rumors stuff with Arsenal because we're linked with every player under the sun because we've had a good season. So it's not even worth going there yet, I don't think.
It's also worth that Ali Khan hasn't actually straight out said that he doesn't want to buy out the Cancelo deal. So there is still the potential that we can just keep him. And I think he's been fantastic for us. I just don't know.
Cancelo also on Barca's radar too.
All right. I'm surprised he's moved as much as he has for how good he is.
I still think he's the best fullback in the world, honestly.
Yeah, like
João Cancelo.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Whenever I hear attitude problems out of players, it just turns me off. It really like Pogba. He's a great talent, but it just turns me off. Aubameyang.
Pogba's not even really that good of a talent, anyways.
Whoa, I think he was. I thought he was really good. So much potential. Best 6'8", 10, 7, 11 of all time, maybe.
Who's looking forward to the Conference League final?
Yeah, I have these pulled up. Fiorentina West Ham.
It's gonna be good.
That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be a good final.
I'm excited for that game.
I'm just going to look at our predictions here. Creedzer, I don't know if he's in chat, but he's in first place there. Cultured and myself, second, third. Milo, you're tied. Oh, you and I are tied. And then Hoff's pulling up the rear. He had Anderlecht winning. I had Alkmaar. You had Alkmaar, Milo. No one. Two people had West Ham. Cultured had West Ham, so he has potential of winning the whole thing. Well, yeah, good for West Ham, right? You know, it's a.
They're the Conference League. I mean, yeah, it's big. What do you say?
I think it's so. I was glad you brought this up. I was thinking about this last Thursday when these games were on. It is so good. I love it. I think they could add one more competition. I really do. I think it is so good for the fans. I think it's so good to showcase talent, like academy talent, whatever, you know. It's anything to bring a highlight to smaller clubs, you know. I'm not going to go there. But
I agree in principle. There's some advantages to that would fit my plan for financial fair play.
So many players on on Fiorentina's team I would not have even thought of looking at. I would not have even thought of looking at their squad or watching so and so play. To be honest, I couldn't name a player off Fiorentina. Oh no, what's his name? Milinkovic, the center back.
I was gonna say Amrabat.
Amrabat, yeah, okay. There are players. There are many players, but you just wouldn't even see it, even on Basel's team or Alkmaar's team, right? All these players are getting a little bit of spotlight, on, for example, when the other Europa League games were done and dusted. Who went to extra time? It was Fiorentina. Basel went to extra time, and then all eyes go to that game. It's just really good for these other clubs to increase their value, maybe get some net spend.
Did you see the
profit.
Supporter issues after the game?
Oh yeah, that was messed up, man.
Yeah, they had the Alkmaar fans trying to get into the West Ham section. It said it was the families section. I guess the players. Families.
It was the families, like the grandmothers and daughters, and that, which is just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I saw a video of. Listen, English fans are not. I'm not obviously many problems of our own, very well publicized. But definitely that's another area away from financial stuff that clampdowns need to happen, in my opinion, way more. Matches behind closed doors, all that stuff should be more prevalent.
Yeah,
and we'll get more into that with La Liga as well.
I will say I don't give UEFA a ton of shout outs, but I will give them one for saying that they're going to deal with the player repercussions of that after the final, because they realized that a lot of those players were defending family members and not just supporters. So if they get suspended, it won't be for the final.
Yeah.
So good up for UEFA on that one.
At the top of the staircase, those two West Ham fans, I saw a meme. It was like, it had a picture of like Andrew Tate, and they were like, what you think masculinity looks like, and then I had a picture of those two West Ham guys, those big and what it actually looks like. It was pretty funny because that was pretty epic. They were just at the top of the staircase, just like swinging hammers at him. It was just like, what the hell is going on?
There's a video of him going around from the weekend where he's like outside a pub and they're all singing his name, and he's got a big black eye, and he'll never buy a beer again in West Ham pubs.
And I think I can't remember exactly. I think Alkmaar fans have been banned for the last, like the Dutch league banned them from their games. Yep. Yeah, just complete blanket ban.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got Fiorentina versus West Ham in the Conference League. In the Europa League, though, Sevilla overcoming Juventus in extra time. Eric Lamela scoring. Sevilla, amazing atmosphere, man. I mean, I can totally understand how United lost there. It was just like, it's a little bit of justice for United, because it was insane, the atmosphere over there. And also Roma getting through without a shot on target in the second leg, which is classic Mourinho stuff. Yeah.
Classic Mourinho.
Jesus. Back-to-back European finals for Roma now. Was it Mourinho's never lost a European final? Sevilla have never. They're 6-0 in the Europa League finals. I don't know about other finals, but so that'll be a great game. I'm not exactly sure what date is it on a Wednesday, and then
Wednesday the 31st. So yeah, not this coming Wednesday, the one after.
And then Conference League is that like it's not the same day. It must be like the
June 7th.
Oh, it's after.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's like the week after.
Oh, weird. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Sevilla getting back in once again. Sevilla is North Morocco. True. There's right there. Lakers have bottled it. Lakers got swept. Yes. Anyways, and the final game, Manchester City versus Inter Milan. I mean, how epic would it be? City beat United in the FA Cup, strolling, and then Edin Dzeko 90th minute winner against Man City. Like,
oh please,
assisted by Darmian.
Please,
that would be epic. I think City is on track for the treble, though. I don't know what you
Unfortunately,
guys think.
Yeah, it's gonna take something to beat them. That's for sure.
I believe United. It's the hope that kills you, though. But I believe United can do something. I don't know.
That's gonna be a spicy final, man. That will.
It's just all these games are gonna be big.
Spicy.
Let's head over to Spain. Big news. The Vinicius Jr. situation all over the news right now. It's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy scenes in Valencia. We talked about it a couple times this year already. Obviously, really tough situation. He got a red card in the match. Real Madrid lost. That pretty much guarantees Valencia safety in the first division. But I don't know, man. We talk about it every now and then. I don't know. La Liga UEFA was talking, or FIFA or UEFA was talking about. They're confused why La Liga didn't follow their protocol or something, where you could potentially stop the game. I think that's what has to happen. I think the way to do it is point deduction. If the fans, like individually, they'll take a couple losses, right? A couple losses, get kicked out, whatever. A couple fans get kicked out for life or whatever. I think the fan base as a whole will accept that. But if you penalize the club with a point reduction, I think that's the only way you're going to get any change, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you address this whole Vinicius abuse?
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, it's a dangerous topic.
I mean,
I'll start by saying I think the president of La Liga is a total fuckhead.
true.
Tebas.
God, that guy is a tool.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? He like one of the I don't know, top 3 stars of the league, and you're gonna come out and criticize him for being racially abused, and then all the other arguments about, oh, he brings it on himself. That's such like a shitty excuse. And I mean, it's not even an excuse. It's just a bad argument. It's like
it
saying,
really is
like a woman that gets raped is like, oh, she was asking for it. It's like that shit, and that just drives me insane when I read that.
very tone deaf by Tebas. Very tone deaf.
I think you could start with Valencia. Like, there's endless amounts of video of the sections and the fans and everything that's going on there, and so, but it's beyond that. It's to his point that he tweeted out. It's happening rampant throughout the league, every stadium that they play at. So, and I'm sure that we could probably even look and watch Real Madrid fans do it to other players on other teams too. So, it's the same kind of thing. Like, it's still rampant throughout the sport, unfortunately, because you look at Italy's had the same issues all year. So it's something that I think needs to be addressed bigger by UEFA and not just the league or the teams or anything like that. Like, it's got to be dealt with on a grand scale. These teams got to start looking at serious punishment for not handling it appropriately.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, points deductions. Again, relegation's got to be the most painful. That's the extreme points deduction, I suppose, if you go that way. If you deduct enough points, you'll get relegated. So, but I mean, it's how do you fix a cultural problem in an entire nation?
Yeah, that's what
like, is that on football to fix? I mean, I'd love it if football could fix that, right? The idea behind sport is you bring people together from all walks of life to compete and play with one another. And if you look at the friendly side of the game, is that, is it realistic? Like, how do you? I mean, Tin says highlight the culture. I mean, which, stories coming out like this obviously do that, but then there has to be ramifications, especially, we know it's not the first time. Like Michael said, Italy in particular has had issues, not just this year, forever.
I think point reduction is the best way to do it. Then my conspiracy mind thinks, say Barca fans, then you get a bunch of Real Madrid fans. You go to Bernabeu, dress up as Real Madrid players, and then start yelling racist stuff.
False flag racism. Nice.
You know what I mean? That's a conspiracy theorist. Like, I'm just looking at the exploits.
Why are you giving the millions of Spanish viewers of this show ideas?
I'm just saying that's the danger. That's the danger. That's what people will say. Oh, this person, or you I don't know. You have like every fan is like well documented or something. Like, I don't know. Like, there's like extreme measures are taken. Then it's Big Brother all of a sudden. I'm all for Big Brother, by the way.
Yeah.
All these accounting things that are being screwed over by City would not be happening in a complete surveillance society. That's a whole other topic.
I don't know how.
That's like the off season. That's the off.
What can't happen is it just get brushed under the carpet, or we have to deal with that and then never deal with it. Like, there has to be something put in place that will tackle this, and because only then, if the club, it's going to come down to threatening their financial stability. By the way, just to complete that circle, but like by threatening their financial stability, is that, if you do that enough, the club will say, well, fuck it, close the doors, we won't have any fans in because they're gonna cost us our whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it has to be that extreme to stamp out racism in football, or in all sports, really. Because although Vinny's highlighting this one, we're talking. Let's keep it about Vinny, I suppose, and this particular incident.
I don't mean
but it is a wider issue. but we definitely need something major to happen. But I find it very hypocritical when organizations like UEFA and FIFA, have these big campaigns, anti-racism campaigns, and then they do absolutely nothing about it.
I feel like
domestic
points deduction, though, I don't think is the right way to go, because now you're punishing the player. Like, if it was a player that said that, points deduction, punish the players. But fans doing it, I feel like your points deduction, you're targeting the team and the players. But I agree with you. Maybe a financial impact hit the team, or ban the supporters for 3 games. Now you got to play in empty stadiums, and then have them police out, because what was it? I forget who it was that had a Champions League. Like they had fans banned from a Champions League venue, and then the fans just went and circled the stadium anyways. Yeah, like don't allow that either. Like you have to take it to the extreme. But I feel like a points deduction hits the players too hard. To your point, let's say earlier when we were talking about the financial fair play thing, you don't want to take the rewards away from the players because they're not the ones at the end of the day that did it. Yeah. Now, if at the end of the day, like if another player went and attacked Vinny Jr. with racism, not only take it from that player, take it from his team, make sure that the teammates know that it's not okay.
It's fear-based. It's like the death penalty. The fact that it exists makes me not want to commit crimes. Like if I'm a fan and knowing,
not your moral compass or anything.
I'm just saying it at the end of the day, it's like gun to head or whatever, like if I'm a fan and I know me yelling monkey shit is gonna potentially affect my club that I love or whatever, I'm probably gonna stop.
Yeah, but that's because you're a normal person. Yeah, deep down under.
No, but there's no fear. There's no fear to yell monkey shit and banana whatever. Like there's no fear. Yeah, nothing's gonna happen other than maybe if you get caught, you get banned, lifetime ban, which is fine.
The scary thing to
Milo's 2 people were banned for life.
The scary thing to Milo's point, though, is that it is not just one person in a video that's doing this. It is a section of the stadium that is chanting this towards a player.
Yeah, you should see the video Vinicius just released. He had clips from the Atletico game. There was like a piñata of Vinicius being hung. Like there were all these things. Like it was crazy. It's crazy the abuse he gets.
Dani Alves had a banana thrown at him while he was on the field. Yeah. So
I think
it's been around for a while.
Obviously, there's a giant part of this that can only be fixed in the society, like the educational system and the parental system in those nations, right? There are. If you go deep enough down the rabbit hole, you need those children's parents to educate them the right way growing up, and you can't fix that with football. That can't be fixed in football. But as you, it was empty. I was empty. But I had a childhood flashback then. I spilled an entire pint of orange juice on my keyboard when I was a kid, and I got in so much fucking trouble. That's so
orange juice.
Sure. Instantly flashback in my mind. Isn't that funny? Like bang. Christ. That must have really affected me. But anyway, it's got to go back. Greg, like you said, streets and households won't be changed by anything that UEFA or FIFA or La Liga do. Right. Their president being a fuckhead notwithstanding. Like it's, change him. You can change him. You can fix that within football, and you can do things in the stadium to make sure, or do your best to make sure. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like the clubs are even trying to do enough about it. So they could stamp down more, and then UEFA, FIFA, etc., could stamp down more on the clubs. Definitely more pressure could be applied there. But unfortunately, it's a bigger problem in that, if you were raised by fairly normal people, you were, and for the most part, in today's day and age, I don't know what the percentage would be, 85% of places you would think are teaching people the right way to behave towards one another, across the world, across your backgrounds, across your ethnicity, all the rest of it. But there's always this percentage that are morons, and there will always be morons, no matter what anybody does, right?
Right.
Is it ever going to be zero? No, but Yeah, I don't know. It's such a deep issue, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, I completely agree with Sacco here. You know, it just can't be in footballing stadiums. It can't be in like public domain type of thing. You know, you have to. Can you imagine, like, you know, you're not going to want to bring your kid to that environment. You know, say you go to Sevilla or Valencia on vacation or something, and you want to go to a game. You're going to hear about these reports, and you're just not going to want to go. And that, you know, ultimately that's not what football is supposed to be about. You know, like it's not it's not good for the game. It's first off, it's not good for the game. Okay, it's not good for society. But yeah, I'm not saying football needs to be the moral compass or whatever for society. Like there's obviously deeper issues here, and I think football is an outlet for these idiots to kind of erupt or whatever, to kind of show their, you know, whatever they want to do. You know, it's like it becomes pretty rowdy. You know, it can become rowdy. You know, and then the pack mentality, you know, whatever, idiot people will kind of bubble up. So yeah, I completely agree with you though. I don't, obviously, I do think it could have a positive effect on society though. I do think it could, but it shouldn't be, you know, they should just take care of, La Liga should take care of football, you know, first, and then if they want to branch out and try to take on society, you know, fine, that's great. But I mean, I'm not sure. I think Tin mentioned there's like some immigration issues there. Sevilla and Spain are going through from illegal immigration. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the cultural details and stuff like that. Anyways,
it's a lot deeper than football. But yeah, you're all right. Like soccer as well. Yeah, like definitely, football can be an example, and football. You know, if you listen to them, they try to be an example in a lot of ways, but then you need to see them back it up, right?
Mm-hmm. How about that? Add that to
comes to shove. But then that'll also take us back in time to the conversation about the World Cup and where it was hosted.
No, and you know, I was going to bring that up actually, but I didn't.
Yeah.
because in that country they don't like PDA, right? Public displays of affection, and they don't want to, you know, it's a cultural thing, right? They don't want their kids influenced by Jeffree Star. You know, that's just their deal. That, I mean, and look, I understand us in the West want that to happen, I guess. That is technically you know, that's technically the gripe. So they don't want Jeffree Star being pushed in the face of their children.
What if the people of Valencia said to you, "Well, we want to be racist"?
Yeah, I mean that's fine, dude. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. If that's really what they want to do, that's fine. I mean, obviously it's not fine, but I'm not cool with it. But like, if a small community decides that, as long as they're not going outside and, like, you know, what's it called, pillaging other city states or whatever, like if they're not growing or anything, whatever, man.
It's just
do whatever you want in your house.
Again, for me, it's the same thing. Football doesn't always back. My point on that, by bringing up the World Cup, is football doesn't always back up what they're telling you publicly, morality wise. Do you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm.
Yeah.
That was my point on that. It's just there are other topics in addition to racism that they do not back up what they say, and it's frustrating because, you know, if you want to be an example and set an example, which you're telling us you want to do, then do that. Don't just do enough so that you're showing the world that you're interested in those things, and then not backing them up. This is I feel that way about every walk of life, not just in football and all sports, all people in general. Don't just show me you slightly care about this, and then, you know, push comes to shove, you really don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is another off-season good topic.
It is.
You know,
write these down, somebody.
Somebody, we need a show scribe.
We need weekly minutes. Yeah.
All right. Okay. La Liga, it's heating up, guys. It's heating up. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona all qualified for Champions League. We talked about Barcelona winning the league last time. Sociedad with the big win over Barcelona. They are now 5 points clear of in fourth place of Villarreal. So 3 games to go. 5 points clear. Really good position for Sociedad. That final Conference League spot is still pretty tight. There's a gap between the Europa League and Atletico Bilbao, Betis and Bilbao. 6 points to get to Europa League. That's a tough ask for the last 3 games. I don't know what the matchups are for going into the final week, but that last Conference League spot will be tricky. And the relegation is also looking pretty tight. Cadiz and Valencia on 40, and 19th place is 34 points. So it's still pretty tight. There's a lot to play for. Still 3 games left. A lot of games. Looks like they'll be going well into June. Yeah, so a lot to look out for. Let me just look up some fixtures here. I haven't looked at the fixtures. There's some good games, guys. Check it out. It's all happening.
The same thing right now.
Yeah.
It's all happening. 3 games left.
Didn't think I'd ever see that.
Oh, that's good.
That
That's
is
actually
good.
good.
Give it a slow clap.
That's actually
for,
good.
Yep.
Very good.
Well done.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, Atletico's in second place. Let's talk Bundesliga. Big news in Bundesliga this weekend, huh?
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it, Michael. What's going on with your Bayern Munich, man? Or Hoff, what happened? Hoff, what happened real quick?
I'll just
Get
give the overview, and I'll let Michael get into the nitty gritty. So Leipzig came to Bayern, emerged victorious 3-1. Leipzig's first ever victory at in Munich against Bayern. They had 2 pens. One was a handball, and one was a tackle. I forget what the first one was. It was in Kunku. Yeah, okay, it was in Kunku. But Bayern were actually up 1-0. It was a nice goal that Gnabry scored. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not getting into that. What happened, Michael?
You saying Gnabry scored a banger? It was a beautiful goal, beautiful team build up to that, and then just penalty. And the first penalty, I argued that both of them are kind of soft penalties. The second one of the handball is a little bit of letter of the law kind of thing, but the first one was it really changed the mood of the game because there was a lot of argument around the first penalty, and then the second one just it completely sucked the winds out of the sails at that time. And then the team just you could see the team just didn't respond very well, and that unfortunately has been the Bayern team of 2023, and that's unfortunately this coach I think is not going to last with us. I think we're going to be back on the coaching market in the summer because we honestly didn't. I mean, Nagelsmann, at least when he was in charge, the team would respond to adversity. The team we have right now just doesn't. Anything that doesn't happen our way, it hasn't been. So we still have a chance. It's a very small chance, though. Dortmund's got a bottle, and we got to win, and Dortmund's got an easier run of it. So,
yeah.
Bayern fans leaving the stadium early in droves before the end of the whistle.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
Yep.
Does just I guess more generally about Bayern, does the sacking of looks like a premature sacking of Nagelsmann, replacing with Tuchel when the treble is still on, and now might end up with nothing. Does that put more pressure on Kahn?
I think Oli Kahn's fine.
He's
had he knows what the fan base wants, and he knows how to succeed. I don't think he's in any sort of trouble.
Okay.
I think Tuchel is going to be in a hot seat because he took over this team, and it's Bayern. It's this Bayern team that is set up to succeed. I think the early fire Nagelsmann, I still disagree with. Nagelsmann, was 2 seasons away from winning 5 trophies in a season. So yes, we fumbled the Champions League last year, and yes, he had an early exit in the Pokal, but he ended up. That's basically what sealed it for him this year. It was another shitty showing in the Pokal, and they, when you're not winning both domestic titles as a Bayern coach, you're doing something wrong. So,
yeah,
I still don't agree with it. I still think that he was the best coach that we've had in a long time, probably since Pep, honestly. But I don't know. I have hopes that Tuchel was going to turn his shit around, but he's done a lot of weird things with his team that you saw, kind of with his end of Chelsea days as well, where the formation's constantly changing, the players are rotating into different spots. I don't know. I think he's also kind of taken a lot of the power away from Kimmich. You looked at Kimmich and Neuer were the two steady captains of this team that constantly were running things, and now we don't really have Kimmich to. He doesn't seem like that same rock that he used to be in this system with Tuchel. So I'm afraid. I am afraid, but I'm also happy for Dortmund because they had a phenomenal season. And Marco Reus getting his swan song lifting the plate would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Just to wrap that up, so Dortmund beat Augsburg 3-0 in Augsburg. Seb Haller got 2, which anytime he scores, I'm happy. I love his story has been phenomenal. So is it Saturday or Sunday is the final day? Dortmund at Mainz at home, and Bayern are away to Cologne. So yeah, all Bayern has to win. A draw does not do it because Bayern have a ridiculous goal difference still. So if Dortmund win, the title's theirs. For the Champions League, there's a twist. I know last week it looked like Union were sitting pretty, but then they got spanked by Hoffenheim. I was not expecting that personally. So Freiburg and Union are level. Union is ahead on goal difference, so whoever gets the better result out of that will qualify for the Champions League.
I really, really hope that they get Champions League football, by the way. As a Bundesliga fan, I really, really hope they get it.
But on the Bayern game, did you hear Thomas Muller's comments about the game? He said, his post-game interview. He was like, during an interview by Muller, referee Aitekin was heard ranting about German referee expert Manuel Graf in the background. And then he says, Manuel is sitting in Berlin with his 180 kilograms and talks shit. He's such a rat. I don't know anything about this, but that sounds pretty spicy. That was me. Sorry.
Basically, the referee systems in Germany this year has been called into question by multiple teams.
Oh my goodness!
It's been pretty questionable this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Sorry, Huff. Continue.
Oh, it's all right. I was just wrapping up the relegation. Hertha and Bochum played, faced each other this past weekend, and Hertha needed a win. They needed full points to at least have a shot to stay up on the last day. But Bochum scored an equalizer 1-1 in the 94th minute. It was Kevin Schlotterbeck, Nico's brother, scored a header, and Hertha they're gone. They're down next year. And Bochum are sitting in the playoff spot right now. So right now it is Bochum against Hamburg for the playoff. But it still could. The playoff spot could still move around. Stuttgart hammered Mainz 4-1. That was an incredible game to watch. Stuttgart looked like a team that didn't want to go down, which was kind of nice to see. And they're just above Bochum. They're level on points. Stuttgart has a better goal difference.
Yep. And that same Mainz team has to play Dortmund now, so that's why I'm not looking.
Mainz did not look. They didn't give Bayern fans much hope. With that performance. And Schalke drew Eintracht. They got a late 85th minute equalizer against Eintracht to get, an important point. So yeah, the last two, or the final automatic spot and the playoff spot, aren't decided. There's still 3 clubs. I guess technically 4, but it's probably going to be some mixture of Stuttgart, Bochum, and Schalke for those last 2 spots. And then the Zweite is still Darmstadt, Heidenheim, and then Hamburg in the playoff spot.
Nice. Okay. Should we talk a little Serie A? A little bit of Serie A?
Man, I just got real quick bullet points for that one.
Cool. Perfect.
For this week. So, yeah, obviously the big news, Juve docked 10 points, so they can't make the UCL. That's basically the benchmark they decided was whatever it is, so they can't make the Champions League.
Yep.
But it still puts Roma in a tough spot because they're just 1 point behind Roma now, right? I think.
Yeah, but then Roma kind of shot themselves in the foot with a 2-2 draw with Salernitana this week. And, admittedly, they're probably putting a lot of their efforts into the Europa League, right? So,
yeah, definitely.
So tough game midweek and then a draw at the weekend. I don't think... Look, if you want to talk about who it's hardest on, again, bringing it back to the players, do you think the way this has been handled, I don't think it's right for the players. Like, you give them a 15-point docking, they start working that off, right? And then they take that away and jump them back into the top 4, and then they give them a 10-point docking again, all within the same season. I don't think that's been handled the right way. I don't know about how you guys feel about that.
So mine's 2 points on it. Is earlier I was against taking points away because you were docking the players. However, Juve has been caught cheating however many times now in the last decade that I do believe this now just needs to impact everybody that's involved with the club.
I agree, but not. I just think I think this group of players within this season,
yes.
It's very, very harsh.
My next point was I think anything that stems from anything like this needs to be handled out postseason. Same thing with Man City. If Man City gets hit with whatever they get hit with, I think it needs to be in the off season so that way the team knows what they're going into. Start them in the negative. You're negative 10 points. So that way you know that the goal is now this instead of this. You know what I mean? Don't do it mid-season where you fought so hard to make the Champions League and now it just got pulled out of the rug got pulled out from under your feet. Yeah.
Actually, Mourinho said something. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I think it was today. He said and they're only separated by a point, but he's like, you just can't be like determining penalties when there's 2 games left. Like, we have a Europa League spot on the line, and now we know that Juventus is only a point behind us when it could have been completely different. He said he had sympathy for Allegri and all that stuff. I don't care. Allegri's terrible, but I thought that was interesting from Mourinho. I agree with him. I just thought it's kind of out of character a little bit.
Well, I don't think
he did say the league was compromised. I appreciated that because he's not wrong.
That league's always been compromised.
Yeah, exactly.
Juventus should not be anywhere near Roma's Conference League spot. I know it's Conference League, but they shouldn't be anywhere near it. I think that's just crazy.
They should have reinstated the 15 points.
Yeah.
Put them back. Might as well. It's not that big a difference.
Put them back to mid-table. It doesn't threaten a European spot. It seems to me that their only goal, when you look at the points tally, their only goal was to make sure they couldn't make the Champions League.
Should have relegated them again.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a tough one, right? I can see it from all sides. I just think it's poor that they instated a penalty, took it away, reinstated a penalty, 5 points less. It's created more problems than solutions, and it didn't need to be. Just leave them with the 15-point deduction. They got on with it. They were already back up into 7th when they had the points taken off them again. So do you know what I mean? Like, they still might have finished above Roma, but they would have been hit with a harsher penalty. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just thought it was a bit of a mistake. Elsewhere, I know we're getting tight for time, so elsewhere in the league, to make matters worse for Juve, they did lose 4-1 to Empoli. I mean, I just think that they're probably like, what in the fuck? Like, the players have got to be like, what in the fuck is happening? It's been an up and down season for them, to say the least, right? Napoli dented Inter's top 4 battle with a 3-1 win over them. Lazio back to second with a 1-0 win over Udinese. Milan beat already relegated Sampdoria 5-1, so they're fourth by 3 points. Top 4 in their hands now. Roma drew 2-2, as I said earlier. They sit 6th. Atalanta are 5th, 3 points behind Milan and 1 ahead of Roma. So, and I think there's 1 game left. So,
and Also, Coppa Italia final on Wednesday. Fiorentina versus Inter. That'll be good. Same time as Brighton City. And La Liga matches this week as well. Midweek matches. United on Thursday. And I like how Serie A does the end of the season. They stagger it, you know? It would be so cool to have the Leicester game, the Leeds game, and the Everton game all at the same time. You know, instead of all the games at the same time, and then any top 4 European battles at the same time, and then all the other games whenever. I think that's a better, that's a better thing. I mean, it's then you come up with clashes with the rest of Europe, which is TV times, right? Because if you just do it at one time, you don't clash with anyone else. But
it's historically always done this way as well. I think.
Yeah.
Italy's
doing it differently, but I think they do it differently.
Fiorentina could get a double this year.
Yeah, they could, right?
Cup double.
Cup double. Hold on, how many games are left in Italy? 2, right?
2.
Yeah. Yeah, they stagger their games, right?
I did see an interesting thing out of Italy, by the way. In Serie C right now, in 3rd place, there is a German-speaking team who is battling for promotion. So if they ended up getting promoted, they would be obviously a German-speaking club in Serie B, but they're also a favorite to get promoted out of Serie B to Serie A as well, because there's heavy investment in that club. So,
interesting.
There could be a German-speaking club because of the town that they're in. So,
okay. Let's just a couple quick things. Tin brought up an interesting point. Now we're going back through the show, guys. We had some great comments from all of you. Obviously, Adola, we got to Adola's comment about Juventus dropping points. Guy, and I think we covered everything. Bayern lost, Vinicius. Yeah, we covered it all. See, we're doing it. We're doing it. Tin said, "Can we create an AI Zlatan to be part of the show? That would be pretty awesome." That would be pretty awesome. That's a great.
We already
comment.
have that. We have cartwheel.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, I can channel. Have you guys heard of those channeling? Like they're like, there's this bald guy on. He always pops up every now and then, viral clips, and he channels people. Like, anyways.
What?
Is it Pep Guardiola?
No, it's not. It's a guy who looks like a garbanzo bean.
Pep Guardiola.
Maybe it is Pep. Sin Zero saying, imagine Rashford scores a 90th minute winner, but then takes a pick with Lewis Hamilton. Oh man.
Oh no.
Oh god. And Sacco with the hear me out. At the end of the season, we take the relegated clubs and put them in a gauntlet tournament with a massive cash reward.
Are we talking like fighting or football? If it's fighting,
chivalry.
I'm down.
Yeah, chivalry.
Yeah, chivalry style. I'm on board with that.
Tin also asked right at the beginning of the show, thoughts on the 2026 logo.
It's awful.
It's bad.
It's so bad.
Wait, that's not it.
That's it.
What?
All
That's
the
logo.
all the graphic artists that are in North America that's hosting this tournament, this is what we came up with.
You're joking.
Love it.
That's it.
That's it.
What?
That's it.
I like it.
That's terrible.
I like it.
How
It's
you would
horrendous,
like
mate.
it. You would like it.
Because it is a blank canvas.
Oh, God.
It is customizable for each host city. Imagine imagine you go to the game with your kids, right? You want to say, "Hey, let's get a scarf." And it's branded with, it's Argentina versus the USA. The 2, the flag of Argentina. The 6, the flag of USA. The background, the venue city. Bang. Bang.
No. It's actually 20% away from being a blank canvas if you take a couple edges out.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's customizable. It's customizable. That's the logo that's going to be on, next to the Twitter handles of the teams, and next to the app on the phone. That's what it'll look like. But in reality, it'll come to life with color and background and customizability.
Does look like someone made that on Microsoft Word in about 5 minutes.
No.
It's the future. This is
They
from the
didn't even
future.
use Adobe.
It's the first tournament that's hosted by 3 different countries, and you come up with a white logo. And you couldn't do anything else with it?
No. What I'm saying is, I think this is the way of the future, right? You're not giving any country You know, it's nationless. You know, we are a people of the world. You know, this is the way of the future. This is how Uruguay is going to get a World Cup game at their stadium, through multiple nations hosting it in the area. You know, this is how Ghana is going to get a World Cup game in their country. You know, this blank canvas, freedom and customizable for each game. You know, it's going to be, you know, USA flag on the 2, Mexico flag on the bottom, Dallas in the background. You know,
it's a trademarked image, so you can't do that.
No. That's what FIFA is gonna. Have you seen the iterations by FIFA? Oh, I gotta find it. Oh man, now I gotta find it. Let me find it.
You can't
No,
change
I like it. Hold on, let me find it.
so bad.
Damn, I can't find it. It's gonna take.
I
so
agree
long.
with Tin. If I worked for the company that made that sign, I would make a lot of money.
Imagine
World
you're
Cup.
the, imagine you're the guy,
2026
like
logos.
you're one of the guys that designed a logo for this, and you're looking at the guy that had this logo next to you, and you're like, oh, this guy's definitely not getting it. And then they come out and they announce, I would quit. I'd
lose my shit. Yeah. I would lose my
I'm
shit.
finding it.
Yeah.
Cities. Oh, come on. Here we go. I can find it. Got it.
It's so bad.
New tab.
I thought you were joking when you brought that up.
It literally looks like they actually copy and pasted a stock photo of the World Cup and just placed it over.
They searched for World Cup PNG
Look it.
on Google.
Right? Atlanta.
That's
You got
terrible.
Atlanta.
It's
And then each flag. But you know, it's going to be customizable, you know? It gives now this blows. It's like,
Why are you excited about this logo, dude?
I'm not excited about it. I'm just saying that's
excited about
I
it.
see the vision. I see the
I will
vision.
say, I'm going to the games in Seattle. I don't care who's playing. I'll watch Ghana versus
Yeah.
Where's Seattle? Where's
Carl.
Seattle?
Bottom-
Look at that.
bottom-
Look at
bottom
Seattle. Timber colors.
Which
That's your city. That's your city.
No.
Have some pride.
It's the Timbers.
Oh yeah, sorry. Seattle, whatever, you know. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like it's the city. They got it, you know.
My mouth just now.
Sorry. And these are not. I don't know if these are finalized.
This is
but,
why
you know,
Manchester's blue.
No, they're not.
this is.
But
This
like,
is.
yeah,
Look at this,
it's
Vancouver.
dude. I
I'll
think
be going
it's
to the
pretty
Vancouver
pathetic.
games, too.
Like the whole superimposed, the way that World Cup is put on there. Like honestly, mate, that is like me and you doing something for the show overlay. Google World Cup trophy PNG, and you just copy and paste that on top of what you've done.
Yeah, it looks like somebody screen printed it in their garage.
Look at. Oh my God.
No. Nothing you show me
you
is
know-
gonna make me love that logo.
Oh my God. What is this? What am I looking at? Okay,
Enjoy
I can't
free
find it.
access.
Anyways.
Anyway, we get it.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, we
Now
get
look-
the idea.
Now look at all the other logos that have ever been done and tell me this is good.
Yeah, they're all
by the way,
gimmicky,
no,
combined
1994.
flag.
94.
This is gimmicky.
Was it
I got
94?
one,
Italia 90 was my
that
favorite.
I
I think.
liked.
The
me-
Brazilian
okay,
one
let-
is good.
Hold on.
It's on.
Hold on.
Yeah, I've got it on the.
Italia 90's logo is my favorite, I think. It's the dude with the. Where is it? Logo.
There you go.
Yeah, this guy. Can you look at the Italia 90 one? Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not there.
It's
The
not that
Brazilian
hard.
one was so good.
I have it. It's like a dude. It's like a dude.
There you
Heading
go.
the ball.
That one?
Which one?
Where-
Italian 90?
No, that's not it. They use this. How do I share my screen?
Oh, Hoff's got it. Sorry.
Yeah. Hoff, do you have it? It's
That's
like
not.
it's
No,
like
that's not the Italian. That's just the mock-up.
That's what it should have been. That's what it should have been.
So
I love it.
basic.
Yeah, that
So
would have been really good.
basic.
It's got the Canada flag, Mexico eagle in it, and then the Statue
That-
of Liberty.
That is
That's
a really
brilliant.
good picture. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So the guy that did that right now has probably jumped off the San Francisco Bay Bridge.
Probably.
That looks like it was made in, you know, that looks.
Don't even say it was made in
It's not. It's not
It was
the
not made in
future.
Canva.
Future.
How is that not the
Think about
future?
the poor bastard that drew that, right? And then, like Michael says, he sits there and they choose that other one. Guaranteed suicide right there.
You know that's that scene from the IT Crowd where he just opens the window and just jumps out.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That one's so good.
I don't mind it. I don't mind the current thing because I think it's futuristic. It is customizable. It's the future of, I think, what's it called? Multinational, nationally hosted major tournaments. It's not going to give any favor. Like I saw some people with Mexican, the eagle, and then the stars and stripes in the middle, and a maple leaf on the bottom. It's like, okay, it's a little.
That's how it should be.
Nah,
Every country should be represented in the logo. The one that they created, there's no representation whatsoever.
It is customizable to each city, to each venue.
Yeah, that's only cool though if you're somebody that's going to be able to go to each venue and collect whatever bit there's going to be there, which nobody's going to be able to do.
Yeah, maybe.
Except for the one in Qatar. There was that one gentleman who went to every match in Qatar because it was physically possible in that little location.
All right, well, guys, with the heavy heart, we have to wrap up the show. The last thing I want to say is, with an even heavier heart, is this summer we will say farewell to one of the greatest football players of all time. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
There's quite a few retiring, so.
No. There's only one, and it's sad that you guys do not know who I'm talking about. It is Phil Jones. Phil Jones is leaving Manchester United. Servant of the game, example to all.
Did he decide for somebody else?
I don't think so. I think he's just leaving United. Big clear out happening.
Use him in Portland. I'll give him a ring real quick.
Yeah, he can barely run or something. I don't know. He's got some bad knees. But yeah, he's one of many in the Eric Ten Hag overhaul. Anyways, let's not open that can of worms right now. Anything else you guys want to mention? Talk about?
I'm good.
Yeah, we're a little overtime, but yeah.
If you didn't see it on Thursday evening, Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
One of the best matches I've seen in years. I didn't get to watch the first leg, but Peterborough won 4-0. So I wasn't even planning on watching the second leg. But I saw that Wednesday got 2 goals relatively early. So when I got home from work, I turned it on and watched the second half, and it was incredible. If you haven't seen the highlights from it, the only team to overturn anything larger than a 2-0 victory or 2-0 defeat in a playoff semifinal. It was finished 5-1.
Does anyone else's audio sound funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your mic is.
What I do?
I think you're going underwater or something.
Oh,
that's better.
It's better now.
I was just closer.
better.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Sheffield Wednesday, big comeback. Sorry.
Yes, biggest
Yeah.
comeback ever in a playoff semifinal. So they will be playing Barnsley on Sunday to go to the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Greg has an idea, guys. Let's talk about FFP and City.
Oh, that's a summer show. We got a whole episode.
We did. I don't think we ever talked about that in the last half an hour of the show because the first hour and a half was all this. Okay, the first hour and a half of the whole entire show was FFP and City. The entire first half and a plus. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Wait, you really weren't here? You're not trolling?
I guess he really wasn't there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't either, but
Please check out the VOD on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that
again.
And Ten Hag not nominated for manager of the season is an absolute. I'm sure with this, just like City's FFP, that'll be coming up. 10 years down there, there'll be some corruption.
Agree. He shouldn't win it, but he should be in the conversation. I'll agree.
Yeah, of course, Tim. We're on episode 64, mate. That shows you all you need to know about the longevity of this show.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're a rolling stone here. We're pretty much we're daily streamers. We're Anyways,
all the time there's football to talk about, we'll be arguing about it. I mean, talking about it.
And summer's prime time for transfer bullshit. Oh yeah. It's a gold mine.
Yeah, it's all happening.
Yeah, my Timbers are supposed to be spending a shit ton of money in the summer window, so.
Ooh.
Is that fair? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yes, we have the salary cap to spend.
let's do a dad joke. Anyone have like a singular? Okay, no. Okay, let's not. Oh yeah, there we go.
I know this is my
Go
own
for it.
thing, so I'm going to ask his permission because I want to share mine.
Yeah, I do have one. I will end it, but go for it.
Yeah, he's got to end it. Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys hear about the gingerbread man who lost a leg?
Gingerbread man who lost a leg.
He started his band called Limp Bizkit.
Oh,
I like it.
What is
I like
soggy
it.
biscuit?
What? I try to go for as bad as I can. So mine this week is. Did you hear the one about the roof? Never mind, it's over your head.
Yep.
Oh my God, you do not want to know what soggy biscuit means.
No.
All right, I'm gonna read it. You guys ready?
You don't want to know.
Dark thing.
You guys don't want to know, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. Okay,
Like a dirty.
this is Milo After Dark type of stuff.
Does
Okay,
Greg know?
I don't know if Greg. I hope no one knows. Okay, soggy biscuit is